Hello everybody and welcome to another episode. In today's episode I am going to show you how to completely change the oil in any DSG transmission made by Volkswagen. Right here I have a Volkswagen Golf K5 from the year 2007 and this car has an automatic transmission on which I'll have to replace the oil and the filter. Right here I have the oil filter for the gearbox made by Man Filter, and right here I have 6 liters of brand new oil made by Volkswagen. This is the original oil which I recommend all to put into the gearbox. In any gearbox I recommend all to use only original oil because it will work perfectly and it will not create any harm into the gearbox. Also right here I have a special pump which will help me to put all the oil back into the gearbox. So to do this kind of job you'll have to use also a diagnostic tool to check the temperature of the oil, because you'll have to do the self-adjusting level, and if you don't know the temperature you won't be able to do it correctly. And also this job should be done at every 60,000 kilometers or every 5 years. For example, in the same time you are doing the timing belt, you have to do also complete oil change on the gearbox on your car. So the first thing which you have to do if you want to do this kind of job properly is to check the temperature of the oil at the beginning before trying to remove the oil from the gearbox. So right here on the program it's telling me that you should not replace the oil if the temperature of the oil is above 30 degrees Celsius. So if it's under 30 degrees you can go ahead and remove the drain plug and let the oil drain from the gearbox. But if it's over 30 degrees, if you for example drove the car and the engine is hot and all the other parts, you should let the car cool down, and only after that you have to check the temperature, and if it's under 30 degrees you can go ahead and remove the oil from the gearbox. So to check the temperature of the oil into the gearbox you'll have to use the diagnostic tool. In my case I'm going to use the VCDS tool. I will have to plug the cable into the OBD2 port, and then I have to start the car and see what temperature has the oil into the gearbox. So as you can see, you have to open the VCDS tool, you have to go onto the gearbox, and you have to go to mass values or group of values, and after that you have to check for oil temperature, and you see exactly what temperature has the oil into the gearbox. Alright everybody, as you can see, in my case the temperature of the gearbox oil it's only about 8 degrees Celsius, and this is because I didn't start the car at all. I only drove the car into the garage and that's it. As you can see, the temperature of the oil is very low, but I will let the car running a little bit until it will hide the temperature of the oil until it will reach about 20 degrees Celsius, and after that I will go ahead and remove the oil from the gearbox. Okay everybody, so the car was running for about 10 minutes and now the temperature of the oil into the gearbox just reached 20 degrees Celsius. So now it's very good. In my case I'm going to stop the car, I will go ahead and remove the oil filter from the gearbox, and then I'm going to drain the oil completely from the gearbox. So the first thing which you have to do if you want to remove the oil filter on this gearbox and on this car, you'll have to remove the battery, you'll have to remove the air filter box, you'll have to remove some hoses, and after that you will reach the oil filter which is mounted over the gearbox. Normally right here should be a screw which is holding the air filter box mounted to the car, but in this case it's broken, and you'll have to remove the rest of the parts if you want to remove it from the car. Alright everybody, after you finish removing all the parts which are mounted over the gearbox and over the oil filter location from the gearbox, I recommend all to take some brake cleaner and clean the oil filter itself and the oil filter cap and from around it, because if you have some dirt it can fall inside the engine. So I recommend all to clean the area very good, and only after that you can go ahead and remove the oil filter with the oil filter cap from the gearbox. Right here you will have a closer look of how this filter is looking on this DSG transmission. And after remove it from the housing, I recommend all to take a big syringe or something like that and remove all the oil which is still inside the housing, because this oil will not get down into the gearbox right now. It will not get drained, so you'll have to remove it by hand using a big syringe, and you have to clean the area very good. I also recommend you to take some towels or something like that and clean the inside the housing, and after that you can put a towel over it and you can go underneath the car and remove the oil from the gearbox. Alright everybody, right now the area is prepared for the new filter and also for the new O-rings which are going to be installed into the oil filter housing. And now from here I will go ahead and show you all exactly how to replace the O-ring and also how to install the brand new filter back over the gearbox. Right here, as you can see, I already cleaned the oil filter cap. I cleaned it with some brake cleaner, and right here you have this O-ring which you have to remove. This is the old one, and in the exact same position you'll have to install the brand new one which is provided in the box with the new oil filter. After install the brand new O-rings into the oil filter cap, I always recommend all to lubricate them with the oil which you're going to put into the gearbox or into the engine, for example, and you have to lubricate them because in this way it will prevent them from getting chipped or getting broken while you tag them into the housing. Alright everybody, so right here I'm going to put something over the oil filter housing because I don't want anything to fall into it, and I will go underneath the car and I will drain all the oil from the gearbox, and after that I will put the brand new oil into the tool and I will show you all exactly how to put it back into the gearbox. So right here, after you go underneath the vehicle, you have to check right here on the right side. This is where the gearbox is mounted on these vehicles. And you have to check for this big drain plug, which is mounted right here underneath. Right here in the first part of the gearbox, you'll find the electronical part of the gearbox. And if you go a little bit further, this is the drain plug on this gearbox. You'll have to use an M14 or an M16, something like that. I'm not exactly sure which size it was, but you'll have to remove the drain plug. You'll have to let the oil drain a little bit, and after that you have to remove the adjusting plug. You'll have one more adjusting plug which is inside the gearbox and is tightened by hand. You'll have to remove it by hand, and after that you have to drain all the oil from the gearbox. Now that it's only dripping a little bit of oil, you can go ahead and put this special tool inside it, and you have to remove the second drain plug, and after that all the oil will come out from the gearbox. The next step which you have to do is to wait until all the oil is completely drained from the gearbox, until you will see that no oil is coming out from the gearbox, and after that you have to put back the adjusting lever plug, the second plug for example, and then you'll have to put the oil into the gearbox, and you'll have to do the adjusting lever on the gearbox. Alright everybody, so as you can see, there is no more oil which is coming out from the gearbox, and now I will put back the plastic plug, the second plug which is right here inside it, and you'll have to tighten it by hand. In my case, I will tighten it just a little bit with the tool, and that's it. Maximum, I think you'll have to tighten it to 2 or 3 Newton meters, something like that. And it's perfectly fine if you only tighten it by hand, because this plug will not come out, because you have to install the second plug over it, which will hold it in place, and which normally should be tightened to around 40 or 45 Newton meters. Alright, in my case, I tighten the plug, everything is secured, and from here I will go ahead, I will put the brand new oil into the gearbox, and after that I will install back the new oil filter over the gearbox. In my case, I lubricated all the O-rings, and now I can go ahead and install all the parts back over the gearbox. Okay everybody, the new oil filter is installed back over the gearbox, and now you can go ahead and assemble everything back like you did before. You'll have to put back the mounting support for the battery, you'll have to put back the battery, the air filter box and all the other little parts, and after that you can go ahead and put the brand new oil into the tool, and you'll have to fill out the gearbox with brand new oil. Alright everybody, everything is mounted back into the engine compartment, and right here I have the tool on which I'm going to put the oil, which will help me to put it back into the gearbox. So this DSG transmission, which is mounted on this Volkswagen Golf K5, it will take around 4.8 to 5.2 liters of brand new oil, but I always like to put a little bit more. I recommend all to put around 5.5 or 5.6 liters of brand new oil into the tool. And after that you have to put it back into the gearbox, and then after you will reach the correct temperature, you'll have to do the adjusting level, and the adjusting level will remove all the excess oil. And if you, for example, put too much oil, don't worry, because the adjusting level will eliminate all the oil which is in excess, and it will let the correct amount of oil into the gearbox. So you don't have to worry about putting too much, you'll only have to worry if you put it too less. Alright everybody, so I already put about 5 liters of oil into the tool, and now I'm going to put around 600 milliliters to be around 5 and 6 liters of oil into the tool, and I'm going to put it all into the gearbox. Before trying to put the oil into the gearbox, you have to choose the correct fitting plug, and the correct one for this DSG transmission, it's this one from right here. So as you can see, this is ATF 106 size, and you have to use the exact same size if you want to put it on your DSG transmission. This one will help you to plug it into the transmission, and after that you'll be able to put the hose and pump all the fluid back into the transmission. You don't have to use any tools, you have to tighten it by hand, and that's it. After you finish installing all the oil back into the gearbox, you'll have to go and start the car, and you'll have to hold the brake, the pedal brake, and you'll have to go to each gear in part, and you'll have to wait about 10 to 15 seconds on each gear until all the oil will travel to the gearbox, until it will lubricate all the parts, and after that the gearbox will work very well, and in some cases it will work like new if you had no problems with the gearbox before. So as you can see, in my case I started the car, and now I will go through each gear in part. I will wait at least 10 seconds on each gear, and after that I will go ahead and put it in park, and with the engine still turned on I will check the temperature of the oil, and until the oil it will reach the temperature between 35 and 40 degrees I will go underneath the car and I will do the adjusting level of the oil. Alright everybody, now I will go back into the VCDS tool and I will check the temperature of the oil into the gearbox. You have to open again the VCDS tool, you have to test it to make sure that it's connected to the car properly. After that you have to go right here to the number 2, to the automatic transmission. Then you have to go to mass of values or group of values, something like that, right here in the left side to the number 08. After that you have to go to number 19 and you have to check the temperature of the oil into the gearbox. And in my case it's only about 18 degrees Celsius, so because it's too low I will wait with the engine idling. I will wait until it will reach between 35 and 40 degrees Celsius, and after that I will go under in the car and I will do the adjusting level. Right now the temperature of the gearbox oil is about 36 degrees Celsius, so for me in my case it's possible to go under in the car and do the adjusting level of the oil. To adjust the level correctly into the gearbox, you have to remove the hose. In my case I'm removing this connector which is mounted to the fitting plug, and you have to wait until all the oil will drip completely from the gearbox until you will see only drippings, and all of these things must be done with the engine turned on. So in my case right now the only thing which I have to do is to wait until I see that no oil is coming out from the fitting tool, and after that I will go ahead and remove the fitting tool, and then I'm going to install back the drain plug with a brand new washer, and that's it. One more thing which you have to take in mind is that you don't have to worry about how much oil is coming out from the gearbox, because this amount of oil will be the amount of oil which you installed extra over the correct amount of oil which normally the gearbox is using. So for example in my case, if this transmission is only using 5.2 liters of oil and I placed 5.7, the rest of 500 milliliters of oil will be drained right now into this adjusting level. So you don't have to worry. When you will see that no oil is coming out from the adjusting level, you have to put back the drain plug, and that's it, the job will be done. Also, one more thing which you have to take in mind is that when you are doing the adjusting level and you see that no oil is coming out, this is meaning that you have low oil into the gearbox and you have to add more oil, and you have to wait again to reach the normal temperature, and after that you have to go again and do the adjusting level of the gearbox. So there should be always oil which is coming out from the gearbox when you do the adjusting level of the gearbox. One more thing which you have to remember on these gearboxes is that you almost never have to do any adaptations to them. If you are only replacing the oil like a maintenance thing, this is meaning that you have to do no adaptation to the gearbox. But if you replace the gearbox, or if you repair the gearbox with new parts inside it, this is meaning that you have to readapt the gearbox, you have to make the parts realign and something like that, and then you have to adjust it with the diagnostic tool. But if you are only replacing the oil as a maintenance thing, you don't have to do any adaptations. You can just replace the oil and put it back, and that's it. Alright everybody, so as you can see, there is no more oil which is coming out from the gearbox, and now I can put back the drain plug and tighten it to 40 newton-meters. Okay everybody, with all of these things being said, this is how to replace the oil in HOWTODO oil filter on any DSG transmission. Thank you all for watching. If you like the video and found it informative, please leave a like and a comment down below. See you next time.